poor. And the conclusion of that article was, they did research, that what you need to develop a town or part of the town is a vision of the town which makes people proud of it, and a few people, not everybody, but a few people who want to work on it. And that's doing something, instead of talking about all kinds of things, to just start doing something and make that something people can be proud of. Maybe that's a theoretical thing, because I haven't got any experience with it, but there is some research done on it.
Yeah, I'd like to combine two interventions in one response, which has to do with the tactics that you can develop as an architects association or an architects institution, and to develop all kinds of activities that may foster the position of architecture and give it a larger share in the making of the city. And I think many things are possible there. So in my lecture I very much focus on new strategies for the discipline, but maybe now I focus just on a couple of tactics, right? Quick wins, so to speak. For instance, the Architecture Institute in Holland, apart from preserving a large archive and presenting exhibitions, let's say the regular work, is now developing a whole set of new tactics to help the position of architecture. And that's also important to the clients. Right? We have the deputy mayor here, let's say he represents the clients of this country, not a specific client, but you know, there are not so many debates with clients. And it's already great that it happens tonight. And I think for the clients, many things are possible that normally in cultural activities are never really developed. Right? They are presenting exhibitions to the general public or a professional debate only among architects, and there's very little effort to reach clients and to bring them to new ideas. For instance, the idea that you don't need to wait until you have a very specific question that a building needs to be built before you call an architect. Maybe the deputy mayor doesn't know that you can call an architect way before the moment that you have a building to be built. Right? And that you can think about, well, I have an issue with organizing the space of my city, I have an issue with public space, I have an issue with religious buildings and the maintenance of it, I have an issue with how to develop green zones in the city, I have an issue with playgrounds for children, I have security issues, I have sustainability issues. All the issues I have actually can be spatialized, can be redefined in space. And the moment that you redefine your issues in spatial terms, you can call an architect, because that's exactly what the architect is good for. Right? So there is so much more to think about for architects to play a role vis-a-vis larger social issues. So that's one thing. What we are doing as NAI to expand the definition of architecture beyond the building is also creating new markets for architects. So, and they have new markets, only most architects do not see it and do not defend it and do not pursue them aggressively, but it is possible. So that's one thing. So to redefine the notion of architecture to a larger space to maneuver as an architect. So architects in Holland more and more start to work like consultants, or start to work like civil servants, or start to work like filmmakers, or digital software engineers, you know, because they can do that as well. So to capitalize fully on the potential of architecture, not just for buildings, but fully. That's one thing. Another thing that we are doing with the Netherlands Architecture Institute is to come up with design proposals that are unsolicited. So let's say there is a big issue of the rising sea levels, and you can anticipate huge questions. How to defend the country? It's a low country, the low countries. It's very it's threatened by the climate change. So already you can anticipate that by inventing new strategies, even way before the government or individual clients already conceptualize what could be done. So unsolicited practice. If there are any curious, creative and ambitious people in this audience, they could, apart from their actual portfolio, also develop a kind of potential and already think about what will be the questions in 10 years. So that's another way to strengthen them, to come up with concrete proposals. Another instrument, another tactic is to do matchmaking events. So we do not wait as an culture institution until the client has found the architect and there is a building, and then only at the very end of the process we presented the nice drawings or the model. No, we are organizing events where the client can meet architects and we help them to find matches. So matchmaking is an activity. We also organize competitions. So apart from just waiting until society has defined what a commission is, we organize a competition and we provide interesting juries. So a good competition is a starting point for a great debate in the city, because that might fuel engagement and so on. So organizing competitions is also very important. Another tactic that we are doing is, for instance, to publish guides, architecture guides or city guides. I don't know, do you have an architecture or an urban guide of Prishtina? Yes. And what is in the guide?
It's almost like touristic.
The highlights? The highlights. Okay. So for instance, you would publish a guide where you find the secret places of the city, or the little detail guide of the city. Because especially in a city like Prishtina, when I walked around, I saw so many details that are well worth to be published. Details of inventivity, details of fierce fighting for something valuable. So it would be a great guide. And by presenting a guide, you help people to conceptualize the city. The same for organizing small events, tactical events, in the middle of the night, in a kind of quiet street, suddenly a flash mob. And you, with a mobile phone or with your Facebook page, you say, tonight at 11 o'clock we have a drink to celebrate this beautiful little detail there. And suddenly, tens of people, maybe even hundreds, we do that sometimes, suddenly show up just to celebrate this nice little detail. And this is so great to engineer loyalty, to engagement with the environment. So these are psychological tactics that have nothing to do with a budget, nothing to do with a site or a client that is stubborn. You just do it on your own. That's also creating space, creating a mental map of the city without building at all. But it recreates the city. So by doing these kind of tactical things, like the architecture community, you can reconceptualize the city already, even with the same physical static situation you have on the ground. So these kind of things, creating awareness, and perhaps that might also be a role for the faculty. Maybe if there's no Ministry of Culture wanting to establish an architecture institute, I don't know, maybe there is. I just don't know. But maybe the architecture faculty can start an architecture center and doing these kinds of things. I don't know, but it's on a tactical level, many things are, quick wins are possible.
And just to add to the last point, just to inform you, I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of